Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm going to do this tribute video to author Chang. She was an author who wrote the book, The Rape of Nanking, and she made sure that that atrocity committed by Japan against the Chinese people at Nanking during World War II, in 1937. Technically, on paper, World War II started in 1939 and ended in 1945, but Japan was already at war with China during that time. And Italy was already at war with Ethiopia. But that's a different video. But with the Rape of Nanking, she talks about the Westerners who set up the safety zone. John Rabe, who was a Nazi Party member, but he was like the Oscar Schindler of China. His house was in the Western safety zone, and he saved thousands upon thousands of Chinese lives. If the Japanese wanted him to hand over the innocent Chinese to him, and he would show them the swastika, and they would back off because Japan and Nazi Germany signed the Comintern Pact in 1936. Well, when John Rabe left China to go back to Germany, he was interrogated by the Gestapo. He lost a lot of his wealth. He ran some German business offices in China with the German company called Siemens. But when he got back to Nazi Germany, the Gestapo interrogated him and put him under house arrest. And then when the Soviets took over East Berlin, they interrogated him as well, because he was an anti-communist. So he was in tremendous poverty, but he went from being very poor to poor. We went from losing all his wealth to being very poor, but then went to being a little bit wealthier, like upper lower class, because the survivors at Nanking knew about his economic state, and they donated money to him so he could have a more comfortable life. And I was saying notes the accomplishments of John Rabe in in her book, The Rape of Nanking. She also wrote a book called The Chinese in America, which was an experience of Chinese immigrants, and she noted that in World War II, 20% of Chinese Americans, 1 in 5, served in the United States Army during World War II. And that's not a well-known fact, but I think it should be. And Irish Chang looked at the diaries of John Rabe, but also Minnie Vautrin, who was the dean at Women's College in Nanking, and she chose to stay and help set up the Western Safety Zone as well. And the university that she was in charge of was part of the Western Safety Zone as well. And also Bob Wilson, who was a surgeon. His parents were missionaries in Nanking, so he grew up in Nanking, China, but he went back to the U.S. to medical school at Harvard Medical School, but he came back to China to practice medicine because he considered China his home. And the Rape of Nanking was going to be forgotten until she came and wrote the book, The Rape of Nanking, The Forgotten Holocaust of World War II. And she did the right thing by doing that, and I'm really proud and really grateful that she did that. Unfortunately, in 2004, she took her own life. She committed suicide. She was in the process of writing a third book talking about the Bataan Death March, and she was going to talk about the atrocities there. But she was suffering from severe depression from researching the Rape of Nanking, and I saw a press conference on YouTube when she was at Miami-Dade Community College, and her editor basically lost 10 pounds editing the book, The Rape of Nanking, because the editor was just so sickened by a lot of the atrocities that happened there. So, anyway, the words you want to take care. God bless, and bye-bye. Bye-bye.